Hey, all you awesome lake listeners. Thank you for clicking play on the new Season 2 of the Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast. We are so excited to launch the new season today, and here to help me kick it off is our broker owners, Jeff Krantz and Jason Whittle, to give insight into our first Java tip of the season. So get your coffee and your ears ready. It's going to be a good one. Guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to kick off Season 2 with you and this Java tip.
Hey, Kaylen, we are super excited. Great to see you. I can't believe it's 2021 and it's already Season 2 for Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast. That's just nuts.
That's wild.
It is wild.
Moves fast. We had a lot of great episodes last year.
We did. We had a lot of fun and a lot has changed.
Yes, it has.
A lot has changed. It was a good year. So we have a lot to talk about this year and we're excited to get started.
Yep. Every day's a new day in real estate. We've learned that one this year.
Well, that's awesome. I'm so excited that you guys are here. So I wanted to do today's Java tip on the current market here at the Lake of the Ozarks and maybe some predictions you might have for 2021. So let's start with getting your opinions on the 2020 year in.
Well, you know, that question is always a loaded question because it always depends on what sector of the market you're talking about. So it has been a pretty wild year. Let's hit the highlights. How about lakefront, off-water, and condos?
That sounds awesome.
All three of those sectors, as you guys know, we talk a lot about this. Those three sectors each make up about 30% of our market. So those are kind of our bread and butter, lots and land, commercial, farms make up the rest, the other 10%. But those three are bread and butters, and those three had an absolutely fantastic year. Volume went up, transactions went up, price per square foot went up, average price went up this year. Lots of positive things. What do you want to start with?
Well, let's start with lakefront residential. How about that one? The interesting thing that stuck out to me is, you know, in the past, there's always been sections of lakefront residential that have been slower than others. That changed last year.
Wow, in a big way.
So our starter lakefront homes, great activity in that sector. That has always been a popular. What do you think? Is that price range maybe 200?
Yeah, two to
now
it's
maybe?
2 to 4. It certainly took a jump this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anything under 400 was really hard to find. We saw a lot of multiple offers, lots of buyers, still lots of buyers. It was an interesting. If you had buyers or sellers in that price point, it was an interesting time.
In years past, the price point that seemed to have the most inventory and had been the slowest in the lakefront, at least in the last few years, maybe the last 3 years, was probably that middle ground between $600,000 or $700,000 and $1 million. There was a lot of great homes out there. Sometimes agents couldn't figure out why they hadn't sold. I know I had that frustration many times. That changed last year as well.
Yeah, anytime you've got such growth at the lower price points, we've been talking about it for a couple years that it just had to go up into those higher end markets, and we saw it finally this year. We finally saw it where it just didn't make sense to spend what you could spend at $400,000 because of the home that you could get at $700,000 or $800,000. So those markets just exploded, and it even exploded so quickly that we actually saw it explode into the luxury market. The homes over $1 million. We had.
I was hoping you'd give us those stats.
Yeah, the $1 million market every year for the past 10 years. 23 to 31 homes every year sell in that market on the MLS. There's a few that sell off the MLS, but 23 to 31. This year, 84 homes sold.
Oh, wow.
Over $1 million at the lake. So it just exploded. We're seeing that trend continue. The beginning of this year is just looking like a reflection of how last year's second half ended. So it's exciting.
And I think that luxury market is not a Lake of the Ozarks thing. They're talking about that trend continuing nationwide from a luxury standpoint. A few years ago, the big thing was tiny houses. Tiny houses are not the thing now. People want to live in their home. They want to work in their home. They want to have an office. It used to be that a pool could be an asset or a deterrent depending upon who was looking at it. Now, a pool is desired. So we don't see the luxury market changing. In fact, we don't see any of our lakefront residential markets changing.
Yeah, we've also seen, the other fact that people can work anywhere, and obviously a lot of people are choosing to move out of the cities and find where they want. And why would you not move to Lake of the Ozarks if you could? So we're seeing lots of people move down here full time who have thought about a vacation home, who have thought maybe I was 4 or 5 years away from moving. Now that they're able to work from home, they're coming here. And just like Jeff said, they need office, sometimes 2 offices. Interest rates insanely low.
Holy cow, on Friday I saw an interest rate sheet from a lender, 15-year fixed, 1.87.
Oh, wow.
I thought I had done good on my own loans prior to that, and I thought 1.87. It's awesome.
I'm waiting until they pay me to get a loan. I might be coming.
You think that's going to happen?
I don't think so.
That's so funny. So
how about off-water? Let's hit the other couple
You're right.
really quick. Off-water, doing the same, more and more sales in each price bracket. There is great inventory that consistently comes on the market, and we're going to speak to inventory a little bit later. But sales and growth in the off-water residential market really strong all year as well.
Yeah, we're seeing that trend continue into 2021, and just like you said, Jeff, it was an incredible year. Our average prices as a whole went up close to 25% across the board. Lakefront and condos jumped higher than that, but off-water homes are right about there. So people saw appreciation in their homes. They've been seeing them for the past 6 or 7 years, kind of slow appreciation, but this year we took a big jump. So,
Jason, the condos, specifically condos, let's see, that's about 30% of the market as well, and they've been really active for the last few years. We did see a tremendous change in the condominium market. The standing inventory left us. Saw a post from one of our agents on Facebook that was about 2 years old, and that said there's currently less than 300 condos on the market. And it was a funny post because today, in 2 years, in that same arena, there was 18 on the market. So condo sales are healthy as well.
Yeah, condos have been kind of a staple here forever, and it's just a really great way to get an entry level way to get on the water without buying a true home. There's no upkeep. People love condos, and they have been at one point. I know early in my career there was close to 2,000 condos on the market, and for there to be 18,
yes,
it was quite a shock.
Oh,
yeah, and it's the same thing, and we're going to get into inventory here in a second, but we don't want to paint a picture where there's not things coming on the market, because there's things coming on. They're coming on the market at the exact same pace they always have. They're just not lasting.
They're moving much faster.
Yep.
Yeah. So with us being 3 months into the year now, what do you anticipate 2021 to entail with respect to our market and our industry? Any opinions, trends you see continuing?
Well, I think it's going to be, we've kind of touched on it, I think 21 is going to be a very close mirror of 2020. I feel like transactions may be just a hair down just because we don't have that sitting inventory, but the volume I feel like will be up. I feel like prices are going to continue to go up considerably. We don't have a crystal ball, but at the end of the day, all those indicators are showing that inventory across the country, builders cannot build fast enough. Mm-hmm. We've got builders who are trying to build, but at the end of the day, the price to build, your building materials have just skyrocketed. A lot of builders got out of the market in 08, 9, 10. So
but it's
pointing to go up.
Yeah, they are coming to the lake. I mean, what we've seen so far is more and more interest from builders and developers. And, it's build it and they will come. I think when you see residential improvement, activity. I mean, the lake in general got some major national exposure.
Yes, it did.
Like it or not, shows like the Ozarks and many things caused tremendous exposure for the lake.
When you were at that pool party, weren't you highlighted on that?
I hid. I saw the cameras and hid. But that stuff, has a big effect, and so we're seeing the developers come back and adjust to today's market, and I believe that's going to continue. And I think the other thing that's going to follow, and we've been saying this for several years, but I really do feel like it's going to happen, is we're going to see continued commercial development. You can't have the people that we have and not have the growth and change and excitement from the commercial side of things too. So
we're having lots of conversations
Yes.
with different people, so it feels like it could really take off on the commercial side. And we've been talking about it for a long time. It's like every year, is this going to be the year?
gonna happen.
Is this going to be and I really do feel like we've seen it.
It's
2020
coming. Yeah.
had some great commercial stuff, and I feel like 2021 is going to do the same.
Well, that's super exciting. I'm excited to see all of the possibilities come to light in 2021, because I know that, like you were saying, it could be a mirror, it could be better, it could be a little worse, but either way, it's all exciting.
Like Jeff said, the word is out. This is still a relatively inexpensive place to buy a house, to do anything really. Taxes are crazy low. The price of lakefront, people who are from here don't necessarily, it doesn't feel very cheap, but when you compare it to other lakes around the country, we're still really inexpensive. We have a ton of value, and people are starting to see that. So,
it's caused us as agents to sharpen our pencil. We have to get better, because all this good news doesn't come without challenges. So, it's really helping us become better at what we do, be better advisors and counselors to the people that we're able to work with, because it is to win today means you get to buy a place. Mm-hmm. It means you get in and you're active and you're ready when it happens, and you're ready to pull the trigger, and you've got a good agent that can get you in there. So it's not that the changes don't come without challenges, but boy, they're good challenges.
I'm glad that you brought up challenges, because my next question was, is there anything to maybe be on the lookout for, or maybe proceed with caution with, as in your opinion, as far as 2021 is concerned?
No, well,
I think you always want to, you don't want to be reckless with anything. But at the same time, I feel like now is it's one of those opportunity times where you look back and you're like, oh, wow, we had tremendous growth during this range of time, and nobody knows when that's going to end. Nobody knows when they're going to start. And I just know that we're in it right now, and most of those things point to continued growth. So, I'm sure there's something.
Well, from a buyer's perspective, I think it depends on what you're talking about. Lakefront, do your due diligence. Know where you're buying and what you're buying, and look at things like the topography of the lot, the restrictions that are involved, the water depth, look at those things. Talk to your agent about that. If it's off water, again, it's restrictions. It's what you can do and can't do within that subdivision. Home inspections are almost 100% of the time now. That is a due diligence thing. Be aware about appraisals. Talk to your agent about appraisals and how that's working, about financing. Again, you have to be ready and able to make the decision you need to make just to get into this market. Condominiums, you have a beautiful thing in condos with a resale certificate if it's an older project, or a new sale certificate if it's a newer project. That gives the buyer the right to review all the decks and bylaws, all the rules and regs, the budget, know what's going on, and make their decision. So there's always a lot of things to look for.
Yeah, those things are not necessarily time sensitive, because those are all just Lake of the Ozark thing. Right. Which is such a unique market. There's things that you need to make sure that you understand. You need to make sure your agent understands all those things, because I've seen it cost people tens of thousands of dollars if they don't know what they're buying or what they're negotiating on. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get to inventory for a second. You guys wanted to touch on inventory and just kind of the differences and maybe some predictions of inventory this year?
Yeah. So, You hear it all the time, Jeff. Well, there's no inventory. There's nothing to sell. And it's not true. There's no sitting inventory. There's no inventory that's just sitting out there like we've had in the last 10 years. The reality, though, is that we've actually are on pace to have the same amount of homes that came on the last 4 or 5
I love
years.
your stat. Every month in 2020, except for 2 months, there were more properties that came on the market than there were in the same months of 19.
And that was March and April because
Right.
we were in the middle of COVID,
Right.
the beginning of COVID,
But that's not what the
understanding.
public hears.
No,
and that's
right.
not what they feel. They feel that there is some kind of scarcity, and there's not.
Yeah, there's not. But you do have to be ready
Yes.
to pull the trigger. It does change the urgency because if you just kind of think you want something, you're not going to get it.
Right.
If you're waiting for somebody to lower their price, the chances of that are not very good. The reality is that when you're in it and you're ready, you better be ready to pull the trigger.
And if you think you're buying at the height, we may want to kind of reel back and ask the people that thought they were buying in 2006, 2007.
Right.
We always think that.
Right.
We always think,
How many
"Oh
times
my
did you hear
God."
it's never going to get
Right,
that
it's
high
never
again?
gonna. It'll never be the same.
I remember my grandpa told me one time he never thought his farm would be worth $300 an acre. And
Yeah. It's
So-
there's always ebbs and flows, but we're not done here.
no.
Well, that's super exciting. Okay, last question. What are you both most excited for when looking at the future of 2021?
Just learning, understanding, getting better with our current market. When we started out, there's not every day in real estate's a different day, and I mean it. The situations are different. I'm always excited about it because we have such a unique market here, and people love to be here because they've dreamed about being here. We're very fortunate to live where we live. Fortunate to help the people that want to be here, and so I'm excited about learning what this year is going to bring.
Me too.
Yeah, mine's kind of along the same lines. I think I'm most excited just that so many people are finally starting to learn about Lake of the Ozarks. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I grew up here, I was born and raised. I've lived here besides about 15 years of my life and traveled all over the world, and this is still home. And for other people to get the opportunity to see what Lake of the Ozarks offers, I love that. I love it really is a neat place to sell real estate. As we talk a lot, we're in a want, not a need. And so it really is some people's dreams. So it's pretty awesome.
Well, I appreciate your guys' answers to that. And Grow, Thrive, Inspire listeners, we could not be more thankful to Jeff and Jason for bringing their knowledge and insight here and sharing it with us. I know I am excited for the possibilities 2021 might bring, and I hope you are too. We have more episodes coming, so be sure to tune back in on Wednesdays and like and subscribe to our pages, or share us with those who love the lake area as much as you do. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes, or growthriveinspirepodcast.com. Remember that if you're interested in the Lake of the Ozarks area, we still have our open house information posting to our Facebook page. These posts are on Thursdays for the upcoming weekend, so be sure to check them out. And remember to always grow, thrive, and inspire. Catch you next time.